Hey, everybody.
Hey.
We're here. We're live. We almost weren't for a second or two, but we're here now.
We made it.
That's good. So, just so you know what happened is I fell asleep is what happened.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so I've been ill for the last couple of days, so I've been pretty tired. It's just lie down for a couple seconds, set an alarm, and, sleep through that alarm and all those things. So that's what happened.
Oh, no.
But welcome, everybody. We are here live and direct from somewhere in Canada, London, Ontario, Canada, and then out there in the Pacific Northwest where George and Kat are.
Yeah.
And we are going to do something a little bit different today. We are going to build something live while we're here. But before we start that, are there any updates, any things that you want to talk about, any games that you replayed and you're like, I love that game and we need to talk about it?
I'm on the Board Game Design Summit this week. So I think
tomorrow.
my episode plays tomorrow.
Should. Yep.
Yes. And then I've got a live Q&A on Sunday as well. So yeah, that's something I haven't done before. That'll be interesting.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
And what about other things like games that you played or things you've seen or done? Anything cool?
Oh, we had a lovely demo day at our friendly local game store, Red Castle.
Right. Yes.
Over the weekend, that went really well.
Yeah, we
lots of new people
playing BubbleNet, and actually it was so busy. I thought that I planned just in case it might be quiet to bring a notebook and stuff, and was hoping I'd be able to go around and say hi to the other designers and check out their games and things. Nope. We were flat tack. It was amazing. It was so busy, like good busy, that we were never sitting there just like, and it was from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m.
So wow, you were like running, was flat, out running, doing stuff that whole time.
Yeah,
that's lovely.
Ran back-to-back BubbleNet. Sometimes we had two. I think once we had 3 games of BubbleNet going on the same table at once. So
amazing. And this is all at a store?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Red Castle has an open play kind of area. Well, they've got 2 sort of enclosed areas of tables, and they regularly run events there, which is really cool. And what they did here is they had some tables that were not booked, so regular people could come and they could still get their games out of the library.
Their open gaming, yeah.
And then they had us amongst those tables with our booked tables doing free demos, and so it was wild, like all day. It was really good. And other than that, we've been working on more BubbleNet stuff. I know that George has made some progress with some of his development for the prototype for the what am I trying to say, expansion. George, for the fish clocks. I think that's pretty much there now. It's all just for me to do the I think it's ready for me to illustrate now.
So. Yeah, the only changes are stuff like little manufacturer correspondence details, but they won't affect the art.
Yay. So I'm looking forward to launching it.
So you guys are forging full steam ahead for BubbleNet, and you were able to get some, hopefully more exposure at that event. And it's funny because normally it's like, you say don't work for exposure, but you're not, this is a mutually beneficial thing. It's a little bit different, right? At the game store where, they're providing space and the audience, and, it's not a huge cost to get there and go there. There was really, not a huge cost involved, except time. So there's things that I think that people out there, if you're a new designer, if you're learning how to do this, if you're getting into it, there's going to be some things that seem like a good deal, and really only you can be the judge of what's a good deal or not, if the cost to you makes sense. But sometimes you're going to get asked to do things for free, for exposure, and just make sure it's worth it. Just make sure it's worth it to you to do that. Excuse me. Okay, so
the thing about this is
anyway,
that,
what are we doing today? Today we are looking at ye old Sellsheets, and I think one of the. Oh, can you hear me, Kat?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, weird.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can't hear you at all. 1 second. Hold on. Something's up.
That's strange. Well, while Sen's sorting that out,
Tonight we are building a cell sheet.
yes, we're going to be doing.
I might need to refresh. I'm going to refresh.
So we've both made cell sheets for our games previously based on. Oh wow!
He'll be back. It's just refreshing.
But are we still live? That's the thing. We've made cell sheets previously for our own games. It's not one of the main things that we do, pitching our games that way, but we definitely both used a lot of Sen's advice. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see Sen doing it live and the thought process behind it. Because I think one of the things I find most difficult to decide on is like, what is the hook for my game? And a lot of people have this problem. And I think one of the hardest things is to understand, for me anyway, is that it's not necessarily just one hook. There's not necessarily just that one thing that makes your game interesting. And so you can talk about several things. You can talk about the things that people see when they see the game on the table. You can talk about the feelings that people have, the conversations they have. And so with that in mind, what I always ask people when I'm playtesting is, if you were describing this game to a friend, how would you do that? And that helps me identify the hook. How about you, George? What do you do when you're thinking about a cell sheet?
I hope that I've made something so amazing that I don't have to advertise it at all, and then people just buy it immediately. That hasn't worked out yet. So in the absence of that, I try to think of the audience. I mean, it seems like the thing you're going to put in front of a given publisher will differ based on. I mean, I'm not sure if you have to make one for every single publisher, though. There are cases where I've heard of people doing that. But like what you put in front of a publisher is going to be different from what you put in front of a retailer. But I mean, yeah, the core conceit is, yes, you need to figure out. You've got 8.5 by 11 or A4, depending on where you are, to convince someone without necessarily a huge chunk of component counts and a description of the rules that this is something they want to consider for more than the time it took them to read it, because it is very much an elevator pitch and paper. So if you think it takes longer than that elevator pitch, then it's probably not punchy enough.
That's a really good way of putting it. If your cell sheet takes people longer than an elevator pitch would take to get interested enough to finish reading it, then yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it, George. I like that a lot. That's a good angle. I'm going to try doing that screen refresh thing too, because I don't think that we have Sen right now, and that could possibly be because we are in different instances. So I'm going to try doing that. Let's see if I come back.
Well, while she's gone, so the Holy Roman Empire, the point for discussion, and the Holy Roman Empire was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. Speak amongst yourselves. This is a great time for no one else to be here. Welcome back.
I think I'm here. Oh, okay. Well, now you went away.
No, I'm still here.
I don't know what's going on. There seem to be some technical issues of some sort, but hopefully you're not all seeing our screens going on and off, and hopefully some of you at least can hear us. But yeah, if you're here, please let us know. Please make a comment in the chat. We'd love to know if anyone can actually hear us, if we are actually out there, and we'd love to hear your questions about cell sheets. For the people who aren't sure what a cell sheet is, it's also sometimes called a sales sheet or a summary or a, let's see, what else does it get called? I've heard it called quite a few things, but basically the idea of a cell sheet is that it is a very high level pitch of your game, and it has a particular audience in mind. So you could have a cell sheet for pitching to a publisher. You could have a cell sheet for pitching to retailers. So as a publisher, you could be using this to try and get retailers to take your game into their store. And you'll be telling them different things on these different versions. You could also use your cell sheet concept to try and pitch to the people who may eventually back your game if you're looking at a Kickstarter, or the people who may purchase your game if you are thinking about including, say, little little catalogs in the box for your game. So hopefully I have filled in enough of a gap there that we have a Sen back on deck and that he can be heard.
Hi. So James is saying that he can hear and see, but the screen is blinking. So that has been a thing as of late. So there's got to be a little bug that's happening in this. But anyways, we are here to talk about Sellsheets. And I heard all the stuff that George and Kat were saying. So that's great.
That is good.
Yeah, I've been around. You just can't hear me or see me.
Okay.
But now you can.
Yes.
And it all started when I started, turning off my microphone to cough, and then all of a sudden I was just gone, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to put together a sell sheet for you guys, live and direct while we're messing around here. And I guess we'll just start. And while we're doing it, you all can just ask questions about sell sheets if you want. Other things that they're called, Kat went through a couple, and then like I've heard them called like one sheets and one pagers and things like that. It's really just a way to communicate. And I think George's analogy of, it's a pitch on paper, and it, better be more than just. It better be worth the time that a person's reading it. They want to spend more time on it, and it helps them decide that. So let's get a piece of paper ready here. I'm gonna just make a sheet here, and we will call it onto screen, and we'll get started. Excuse me, and we're just using Canva, so nothing special, very free, very cheap. And yeah, it's gonna be just this Canva. We're gonna go to this layout, and we're gonna drag this over here. So it's not Big George. So we're over here, and we're just gonna make this sheet, and we're gonna get this to be, I guess, bigger. Let's go to 100%. Okay, so we're gonna start with the sell sheet. Let's just I don't know. Let's give this a background color, just so everybody can see what we're doing here. The game that we're going to be working on is just a party game, because party games are really easy to do on sell sheets. You can actually pretty much teach the whole game in a sell sheet. So we'll show that, but understand that for a bigger, more complex game, that a sell sheet may not do it justice, and that's okay as long as you're able to show key parts of it. So I'm just going to start with a template just because I am lazy. And we'll see if we can get something up in there to get started here. Okay. And then I'm just gonna delete everything that's on it. I was really just interested in the background color. It's like, okay, that's a good background color. Let's use that. Oh, I just deleted the background color, so now it's pointless.
Amazing.
But the lovely thing about like Canva is that it's just free, and it's fine to use these things, right? So, okay. So what are some essential elements? Just shout them out, and we'll start typing them in.
The name of the game.
The name of the game. Okay, so we're gonna add a text box here. We'll add a big old heading. We'll change the font later, but we'll just get started by some easy graphic design tips. Hierarchy of information, the top and the biggest thing will get read first, right? So we're going to make this big top thing. And the name of this game is, I think, Kat, you might have actually even played it. It's one that Stefan and Jay and I made, called Chain of Evidence.
Okay, yes. I have played this game. This is neat.
Okay, so this is a little bit big, but it's, we're going to maybe shorten it a little bit. There we go. That's better. And I don't know, we could find a funky font. Remember, with fonts, everybody, we're just going to use basically 2, maybe 3 fonts. But one of them is going to be sort of the titular font. That's a funny way of saying that. But the big, bold, grab your attention, maybe even be a little thematic, that font. And then the other font is like the body font, which is going to be as boring as possible. And readable. That's the whole thing,
legible,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Make it easy to read.
So this is a game about about it was originally about ghosts in their chains and trying to draw clues for each other because they can't talk, they're ghosts. So let's see if there's a font that is about chains. Maybe there is. No, not chains. Not links. Is there any link? No. Is there any ghosts?
Metal.
Metal? Oh, nope. Don't like those. That's not gonna work. We'll find something though. We'll just get a funky font. Groovy. Oh.
So one of the things that Sen is doing right now is one of the things that I always do when I have a job like this to do is I get caught in trying to make the first thing pretty.
Yeah, I mean, then that's okay. We can come up with one thing pretty today. So after that, in script writing, it's called a log line, and we might need what's called a log line. So we're going to add another text box, and the text box is going to be a smaller font, and it's just going to be we're going to do we want it in our regular sized font, and that might be this one here. That might be a little big. We're going to bring that down to like 18 and see if we can make do with that. And we'll bring it back up here. We'll center that, and we'll link it to the other word so that we can get some decent size from that and go there. Okay. So the log line is really about what the game is, who you are in the game, what you're doing, but very simple. It should be like the elevator pitch for the game, like in a world. If you're talking about movies, a log line in a movie is usually the Hollywood kind of imagine X plus Y divided by whatever. So like it's like Speed but on a boat, if you're talking about some other movie. So a chain of evidence is a party game for 4 to 6 players, and we can put that stuff somewhere else. So we don't need to say that. That where you're drawing shapes with literal chains, like little plastic chains, and then you are trying to get everybody not to guess what you're drawing, but to guess what the linked clue is that everybody's drawing. So if, let's say, I draw a whip and George draws a hat and Kat draws a satchel, maybe that is Indiana
Indiana
Jones
Jones.
and the Temple of Doom. That might be the linked the thing that we're trying to guess. Yes, we're each trying to guess what we are drawing, what each other are drawing, but then what is the thing that all of them are connected to? Okay, so how would we explain that in this body? We might say something like, who are you? So you're playing as a ghost, a ghostly character trying to help as ghostly characters, I guess.
Trying to reach the other side.
Yeah, I like that. Trying to help.
Because we're normally doing it the other way.
True.
We're trying to reach them.
We'll start with the thing and we'll get thematic as we go. Players ghostly characters trying to help each other figure. Yeah. Each other communicate. To help each other. See, this is the hardest part, is really this stuff, is coming up with the creative way to quickly and concisely communicate what the game's about, right? Players ghostly characters trying to help each other guess the linked clue, we'll call it that, linked clue by communicating through drawing with chains. Okay, so that might be enough of a log line for tonight. Once we get that, then we're going to look for a couple other things. Let's move to the bottom, just because we can do this really quickly. If I was to say, let's look for a age icon. I don't know. There might be one. If there isn't, we can go find one. Oh, look, there are. So we grab this icon and we can just kind of click there. And Canva's really nice because it'll just kind of put it on there for you, and then you can just resize it, right? So age, what else do we need? We need the time icon. Yeah, time icon. Right, and that looks like it fits. With this one, we'll make it the same size later. And the number of players icon. Oh, I don't know if we can. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, but I don't know if Canva will know that.
I mean, the one we have for age is probably
Oh,
suitable.
true. Yeah. So let's see if there's, go back to age icon and see if we have another one or similar. Because one of the things that Canva can do is like do similar things. Right.
They often have things like players at a table and things like that, like people at a table as the these icons. So that could work. Like people
right. Players at table. And one of the things that I like about Canva is that it divides things in between like graphics, which is what we're doing, like very stark graphic images versus photos versus all those other things. Oh, there we go. So there we go. There we got a play account thing there. All right. And then we can make everything the same size. You see Canva also has those nice little hash lines that tell you how to line things up. Right. So now all the images are the same size. And we can find a little bit of text here to add to that. And for now, we'll just use some giant text. I don't care. And we'll say age is probably 9 to 99. That's always a good number.
Party game.
And some of that might actually be true. Right now, you'll see that text doesn't line up super great, but we'll make it line up later. I don't know what do you think is most important? What do you think goes first? I don't actually know. I've never actually thought about this. For you, it's player count.
That's usually my priority. Is like when I'm buying a game, the first thing I look at is player count. I don't really care about the amount of time it takes to play, and I'm not terribly bothered about the age, but the number of people that can play it, that's always something that I think about. So I don't have kids, so that's easy for me.
Yeah,
there are only 2 of us, so 3 pluses are often a no-go.
Well, then you can't play this game because that's what I just put.
I'm sorry. Well,
3 to 6.
Well, you'll have to come and play it with us then.
Yes.
There you go.
We'll assume that's the scenario.
Yeah, and then for the time, we'll play like, I don't know, it's like 30 minutes. Right, so sometimes you'll use those things, and then we'll just make all this stuff even, and we can distribute it later if we wanted, right? We can distribute stuff evenly, we can lump stuff together, but for now, like, we've got enough to go on here. So if I just take this down a notch, we've got already our title, we've got our log line, we've got our demographics. What else am I missing that we can immediately put on? That's pretty simple.
We need a giant catchy picture of this game.
Yeah, I don't have any, so we're gonna stick something else in there. Like so, by the way, everybody, you can take photos of your games, and it works, right? They don't need to be these fancy box shots. They don't need to be fully rendered. They don't need to be anything. In fact, as a person who looks at Sellsheets a lot for other companies, I don't want to see necessarily a finished box shot. I actually even don't like big spreads of components. I want to see the game in action. So I would prefer to see a picture of maybe the most important parts of the game that are doing the thing that is important in the game, right? So in this particular game, it's a party game where you're using like actual physical chains. I have some here that I can show you, right? And it uses this device to hide clues. That's kind of interesting. So, every game has a little bit of a hook.
And we'll talk about what those are in a second, because those are really important. So just to show you, see, like there, these are the chains that you might draw with. They're little plastic chains that we got off of like Alibaba for like 7 billion feet of it for 2 cents, that kind of thing. Okay. And then we have a device here, which has like a red reveal device. I'll show you this. And this is kind of cool. So you have this red reveal device here. Oh, you can't see it. There it is. And then on the back, it will show you what you're looking at. Hint 1, clue 6, whatever, right? And the answer. So it goes down through the card like this. So if I wanted to look at clue 3, I'd line it up with clue 3. I'd turn it over, and I'd know that I had to use my chain to make a beaver. Oh my gosh. And the other thing about this is that's interesting is that there are hundreds of little pieces of change, not hundreds, maybe like 25 different little pieces of change in different colors and different lengths. So my beaver doesn't have to make made out of one chain, but I could make, one for the teeth, one for the head, probably one for the tail, and one for the body. I might look for like 3 or 4 different lengths of chain. That's what I might look for. Okay, so back to here. We need a flashy picture. So in one thing that's really cool that I love about Canva is this frame. These frames are really cool. So you can take a frame, put it in your document, and that is where a picture will go. So let me just find frames. Search for frames. Okay, here we are. All right, so we'll just take a basic shape one and we'll put it here. So that might represent our big flashy picture of said thing. Now remember, I actually don't love big flashy pictures of spreads, and I want to see the game in action. So I might put like 1 or 2 pictures, maybe even 3. I think 3 is usually like the maximum I would do in terms of like a sequence of events, because I want to teach the game on my sell sheet if at all possible. So we're missing a couple other things other than big splashy pictures, which you can put in later, that being the placeholder. I'm going to color that a little bit darker because I can't really see it. Oh, that's too dark. Maybe something like that. There we go. Okay, we pick an appropriate color later. So what do you guys like to talk about on your sell sheets?
What your intention? I mean, I guess that's an extension of the log line. But the sort of things you do on your turn, preferably with some sort of crescendo. Like what are the exciting moments?
Mm-hmm. Right. And let's talk about hooks while we're at it, because that is the one thing that I find that most of the sell sheets that I review are really lacking a clearly identified hook. What does a hook mean to you?
Generally, a hook for me is the thing that makes me go, oh. So when I'm reading a book, or so one of the things I do when I decide if I'm going to buy a book or not is I literally judge it by its cover. And then I also read the first couple of pages, and I also open it somewhere in the middle and see how I feel about it. And I'm looking for something that grabs me. So the style of the cover, the style of the writing, where they start the story, and the way that it feels. And so when I'm thinking about a game from that perspective, again, I'm looking for a cover that makes me think, this is my kind of game. I'm looking for a feeling about the game that makes me go, this is something I can actually picture playing with whoever it is that I'm planning to get the game for. So generally, I'm thinking, is this something I'll play with George? Or, this feels like a game that I would really enjoy playing with Sasha and Luke, or those sorts of things. So I start thinking about the person, or, this would be a great gift for my mum, or that sort of thing. So I'm already thinking about that person, and I want something that will help me connect it. So when I'm looking at the hook, I'm looking to see if it actually matches my requirements.
I like that way of thinking about it. Yeah. So you're trying to tell the reader something that'll make them stop, right? And go, oh, that might be a game that I'm interested in. So if that's a publisher, how do you do that when it could be kind of anything that makes them stop? How do you know what'll make them stop? and go, oh, let's take a look
One
at
of
that.
the good things to do is to look at what that publisher wants, right? A lot of
Mhm.
publishers on their websites, they're saying, I'm looking for XYZ, just in the same way as when you're like doing a job interview and you're thinking, okay, well, what's in this job description? What words have they used? What words can I reflect back in my response to show that I paid attention to the job description, to show that I'm actually suited for this type of role and that I have industry experience? It's the same thing when you're pitching to a publisher. So if they've said, we're looking for family games with an exciting twist, then try and get those words in there. Try and get family game, try and get exciting, and try and get twist in there, but not obviously, this is a family game with an exciting twist, because then they'll be like, yo, no. But that's sort of, it's aligning with the researching a publisher, right? So if
Yeah.
someone was pitching to Dreyer Inc., for example, and please don't, we're not taking pictures, but if someone was pitching to Dreyer Inc., we would expect them to have looked at the types of games that we've published and the types of games we're interested in publishing, and the play testing we've done and all this kind of stuff, and they would have gone, oh, you like puzzly kinds of games, you like nature themed games, here's my puzzly nature themed game.
Right. And now when we're writing a hook, is it blatantly like, this is the hook, look at the hook, and like put arrows to it? Or is it something that people are going to get by reading the sheet? How upfront does it need to be, you think?
So if it was a Jason Anarchy game, I would literally be saying, like, his whole vibe is these silly comedic kind of games. I think that he could actually literally put on there, here's the hook, and people would be like, I accept this.
Except this has the hook.
Yeah, I will bite.
I mean, I think in general, like the general advice is that showing is better than telling, but also you have very limited space in which to show. So I mean, show as much as you can, but you're going to have to tell. Also, did you just put your personal phone number on the screen?
I mean, I did.
Okay.
And my email.
All good.
It goes to a phone that I never pick up, so
It's fine.
I don't have a phone that I do pick up. Ooh, phones. Who uses those things? Sometimes it rings and I just look at it.
All right, George, you made me change it. But now people just rewind it and go look at it.
Yeah,
anyways. XXX, XXX,
Oh
dash
my.
XXXX.
Oh.
There we go. Okay.
Wow,
Different kind of game.
Now.
Yeah, right. It's that kind of game. Really, I'm more worried about my email, I guess. I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, one thing when I'm talking about hooks, I think there's a difference between like a bait and a hook, right? Bait is something that gets me to look at it. Hook, I think, is something that keeps me coming back to it. I think of them as two different things. I think about it very deeply in that regard. Like, yeah, a hook is good. Or like a bait is good because it gets you to pick up the box, gets you to look at it. But what is going to make you go, yes, that is for me. This is the game for me. This is the game I'm going to buy. And another thing I like to think about for especially maybe a little more complex games, maybe this is complex enough, but a game where, a hook is something that is repeatable, something that's under your control as a player, that you can make happen, something that's within the play loop of the game. So I don't think of theme as a hook. I don't think of a cool component as a hook. I think of that as bait. Like that'll make me look at a game for sure. That'll make me go, oh, that's cool. I want to try that. But to me, a hook is more than just that, because I think as a publisher, I would want to make something that is more than just a pretty picture, make something that's more than just table presence, make something that is more than just, oh, that's cool, and then it's not actually a good game. So I don't know. I would challenge people to think a little more deeply about hooks, and to, yes, you can say it. You can talk about your theme. That's awesome. You can talk about, the eye-catching art. You can talk about don't even talk about, show it, right? Show the table presence, show the eye-catching art, and show the theme. But I think for me, the deeper mechanism is what is really going to hook me as a publisher to, you know, really say I can invest time in looking at this game. What's it about? Because if it is just flashy graphics and that kind of stuff, I don't necessarily think that's enough to then make me want to even look at a game, because I can tell all it is from the box, right? So I don't know. Do you have thoughts on that?
So
Oh,
are you
go
saying? So
Mhm.
are you saying there's a possibility you could show too much? Do you want to leave something back so that basically you're drawing questions out of them, and it's a way to open a dialogue in a sense?
I mean, yes, that's definitely how I pitch as well. Um, I that's part of it, but also that I think some people go in thinking that, oh, this theme has never been done before. That'll automatically get my game looks. And I mean, it might, but I don't think you're going to get much past a look, right? I want to get deeper than a look. I want to hook a person so hard that they're compelled to, I have to play that game. You're telling me a lot of cool stuff here. It looks good. I can see that it's eye catching. And I can imagine what it would look like after my graphic designers and my illustrators give it the full on treatment, like as a publisher. Because I don't, my prototypes look like they look like this, guys. This is what they look like. Words on cards, right?
I look like
Or
prototype.
I'm just gonna hold. Oh, hey, this is hilarious. Not well, it's sad. So Carrie was cleaning out my mother-in-law's house because my mother-in-law died last year, and so her and her father were cleaning out the house, and they found this. Oh, my camera's being my camera. Hold on. Come on, camera. Look at me. Okay.
Your
So
screen keeps flickering.
Yeah, I've got to turn off the AI for the phone. That for the camera, the tracking. So if you can see this is junk art.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This-
neat.
This is the sell sheet for junk art. I just found it over there. I didn't even remember this, but this is what it is. And so it says, you know, you play a card, they place a block. If a pile falls, what did it say at that? Tallest pile wins, right? So it's very much like we were kind of going with the Jenga vibe, which is, you know, you take a block from the bottom and you put it on top. And then over here, it tells you all the stuff about it, like 1 to 6 players, 10 to 30 minutes, 6 ages, 6+. Because Ethan was like 6 at the time. That's a picture of Ethan playing the game. It's a frantic and fun-filled stacking game where junk piles rise high, but tensions rise even higher. A little, you know, ad copy speak there. And I think the cool thing about this was that the game featured 12 uniquely shaped pieces in 4 colors for a total of 48 pieces. Each piece has a corresponding card for a total of 48 cards. With just these components, you can play many different variants, each having their own distinct challenges and rewards. And so that was the hook. That was the hook for this game. It's like, yeah, I get it. Weird shaped pieces piling. It's easy to see. It's easy to get. We don't have to talk about it that much. But then it's like, oh, what do you mean you have cards? Well, the cards are representative of the pieces. And we and you know, here's the other thing, everybody, is that nobody is, well, not, this is not exactly true, but when I pitch with a pitch sheet or a sell sheet or whatever, I am there pitching it. So they can ask me questions, right? And this is, I think, to what George was saying, that people can you can respond to questions where there is space to ask about things. And maybe creating that space is how you get them hooked into a dialogue, right? And so we were answering questions about, what do you mean the cards? What do you mean there's cards? Why did you need cards? And we got into the discussion with the publishers about, like, well, we don't like it when you can reach in a bag and feel the piece that you want and take that piece. That doesn't seem fun. Why don't you get a random piece as we're generating the cards? And then we explained how there's, like, at the time there's like 12 different variants, and you can use the cards to play different types of games that you couldn't play with just pieces, and that got them hooked. Like, literally got them hooked right there. It's like, oh, you got to show me that, right? So in this game here in Chain of Evidence, I guess the hook would be the whole idea of guessing the linked thing. So how do we show that? I might actually need to show more pictures, right? Because the idea of drawing with chains is not too difficult, right? So I might have 3 pictures here of 3 different chain drawings, right? And then I might put some text below each of them. And we'll just add a little bit of body text here and say something really simple like using her chain, Cat draws a fish.
A little bit
Right?
of body text.
Also draws a little bit of body text. A fish, and then I'd copy that, paste that over here, and say George draws a tree with his chain. And I don't know what a fish and a tree have to do with each other yet, but that is the question, right? And then over here, it'd be finally send, or simultaneously, I guess, because we're all drawing at the same time. Simultaneously. And so you can say, you don't have to say this is a simultaneous playing game. We just write it here, right? Simultaneously send. It's not. Oh, I see. Sen draws, uses